It's lovely to be in this beautiful country. And thank you so much for having somebody from the AKC here to speak with you. And from North America, we're very happy to be here. I just want to say that the purpose of this discussion right now is not to explain health issues in Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, but to explain how a breed club and its members confronted and worked to rectify the issues that confront the breed in a positive way that would not only benefit the breed, but would benefit other breed clubs who might look at us as a model. When I came into Cavalier King Charles Spaniels in 1987, we were not an AKC recognized breed. We had our own separate breed club known as the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Club USA. And when I walked in to their very first show, and Nigel Aubrey-Jones called our shows the Country Club of Dog Shows. Somewhere every month we were in some beautiful hotel ballroom showing our dogs. And it was a lovely experience, but on the side rooms where other things were going on, there were always health clinics, and this is 1987. There was always an ophthalmologist there, and there was always a cardiologist. And the cardiologists were not just doing auscultations, they were doing the very beginning of actually doing Dopplers on our dogs. And so I bought this lovely dog as a pet on a spay-neuter contract from a breeder, and it was very hard to get a Cavalier in those days. And the breeder that I happened to be getting one from wasn't one of the, breeders then. And it wasn't explained to me all the issues in the breed, but I joined the club. And the first thing that the club did, and let me see if I can pull this up for you. Okay, where is it?
It's out here. Yep, the catalog. Look, no. Not this one.
I'm down here.
Yeah, here. Which one? I don't know. You can try to see. This one.
You can just pull up. We can show pictures of beautiful dogs. There's nothing wrong with that. As you know, Cavalier's come in all 4 colors. There you go. And why shouldn't you see this beautiful breed so you can see why it is that we are so devoted to our breed? Okay, so she's going to try to pull it up. What I wanted to tell you is that I walked into one of my first dog shows and there was an ophthalmologist there. So I took my first dog, the one who changed my life, was a beautiful tricolor Cavalier. She was never a champion, she was spayed. Her name was Sophie. And I had Sophie's eyes done because I had joined the club and that was one of the things you were supposed to do. The ophthalmologist proceeded to tell me that she couldn't be passed because she had a retinal fold. I was just very upset. I mean, my dog had a retinal fold, and everybody kept saying to me, retinal folds, retinal folds. They sometimes grow out of them. Wait a little bit, and because she was very young when I did this, and lo and behold, Dr. Lionel Rubin, who wrote the big book, the ophthalmologist from the University of Pennsylvania on that, saw her, and he said to me, bring her back to me in about 2 months. And they were gone. So that resolved that issue. Then a little bit later, I took Sophie to the heart clinic. It was about a year later. And they had a board-certified cardiologist there from Maryland, and they were doing things then on videotape, and you would get the videotape of your dogs. And he claimed she had something, terrible. And back to the University of Pennsylvania, I went with her, and the chairman of the department said, I'll be calling him. There was nothing wrong with Sophie. But these were the things we dealt with, but at least we got the programs going. And in 1991, we actually developed a program where there was a cardiologist there from the University of Pennsylvania at every show. And once you got into his program, there were several of them, you were followed. My dogs are still followed. All these years ago, I have documentation all the way back from 1991. And then we realized, well, now we have to do hearts, eyes, patellas, and we added hips. Yes, toy dogs get hip dysplasia. So my dogs all have had their hips done. And all of that's on a repository now. We've modernized it. All the forms now go to the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals in the United States. And you can go up, you can pull up any dog who's been seen and had their your results posted. And you can go and you can see pages and pages and pages of people who have done it with their kennel names. So if somebody says to you, I've been doing this for X amount of years, and it's there. And I want to bring up, if I can find it, the site that shows the actual forms that are on. We still have two parent clubs, what we call the old club, which is the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Club USA, and we also have the American Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Club. And I will show you to the documentation of both. There should be a whole bunch of paperwork in there. Well, I can show it to you anyway. It's right here. I can show you the originals. The first thing you see is this document from the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Club USA. It introduces the breed. It enumerates each of the issues that we follow and we track and we trace and we do actual testing. There it is, at low cost. You can get a dog auscultated for $30 at a show. You can have your eyes done for $30. You can have hips done without anesthesia for approximately $100. And you can have the patellas examined for about $35. It's nothing that's out of anybody's league, and if it is and you want us to take care of it, we have a foundation that will cover that. So those were the original documents from when I first joined the club. Now we go to 1996, and the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel is finally recognized by the AKC. And our parent club, the American Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Club, on the website, each of those issues that I discussed with you, mitral valve disease, all the different eye diseases, hips, patellas, and then some other new ones, just as was mentioned by our veterinarian from Germany, things come up. And we had things like syringomyelia come up, and we have episodic falling, dry eye curly coat, and we have DNA tests for the dry eye curly coat and the episodic falling. So we have really covered everything. We have been honest about the issues in this breed for years before other breeds were putting their head in the sand and saying nothing happened. And it was all done in a congenial, non-threatening way, and a way that people could afford to access the health testing that they need. And our particular local club, we have a health clinic every year. And we have the same kind of rates that people would get at shows, but this is for everybody. If you have, for example, dogs that might have come down from my breeding, I have people go every year. How am I going to know if my get's any good unless we go and do this? And people are happy to do this. And then if they have issues, we confront them and work with them. There's just no finger pointing. We have many things that are polygenic. And I'm sure, as our veterinarian from Germany could tell you, polygenic issues are almost impossible to finally pin down. It's just an unlucky combination of a whole lot of stuff. And we know that. But we've seen some interesting things as a result of doing all of this health testing. When I first came into the breed, juvenile cataracts were a definite issue. We've basically eliminated juvenile cataracts. We have taken and we've realized that our issues with retinal dysplasia are recessive. So we know if a dog's a carrier, you don't breed it to another carrier, you stay away from that. So we've been able to work that backwards. Dry eye curly coat, we know if you're a carrier, you don't breed to another dog with a dry eye curly coat. And for my friend from England, I thank you, that was developed at the Animal Health Trust. And all of this now has come in concert with the fact that lots and lots of money, both our money and money from the Canine Health Foundation, the AKC has a Canine Health Foundation, and on the materials, when you have a chance to go back and look at them, we have the information to contact them. They're more than willing to discuss whatever grants they have going and whatever grants they have upcoming on your particular breed. And it's amazing. Right now, the Cavalier Foundation, which is part of the American Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Club, in conjunction with the AKC Canine Health Foundation, is funding a multi-year program where they're going to be watching dogs. They're beginning to think that the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and the reason we have so much mitral valve disease is that our mitral valves are constructed in a way that's aberrant. And so all of this is going on, and it benefits our breed, it benefits the people who love our breed, and it benefits any other breed who is so willing to open itself up and say, we have problems. And we all have bugaboos. We're dealing with closed systems of genes. It has to be an issue. You know, I raised a handicapped child who had a birth defect. I mean, here we are, two perfectly disparate people who had a child, and he had a birth defect. Well, we can't tell people when they buy a dog that we can guarantee that they're going to be perfect. All the testing in the world doesn't do that. So we have to be willing to say these things can happen. And if they do happen, we have all kinds of support, all kinds of lists, and we understand that we're dealing with live things. and we present it in the most positive way that we can. And as a result of that, within the breeding population of dogs that are bred by good, responsible breeders, our mitral valve disease incidents are coming down. Retinal dysplasia has come down. Juvenile cataracts have been all but eliminated. We have other issues, which is interesting, and we're a little bit baffled by it at the moment. We were dealing with syringomyelia, which is the fluid going through the cervical spine gets sort of stuck through here, and dogs have all kinds of issues with that when they're affected. They can be anything as twisted as a pretzel or as simple as scratching the back of their neck. And we went through an awful phase of it when, as it was discussed before, we eliminated those dogs from a breed program because nobody wants to sell anybody else unhappiness when you're buying a purebred dog from a responsible breeder. And as we don't know why, but the incidence of it has dropped, and it's polygenic, and we don't know where it's going to pop up, and yet, where's the wall? Where's wood? Wherever, bang on wood for me, wherever we see wood. Okay. Woo! Anyway, the incidence, we're not seeing as much of it, especially in the population of responsible breeders. So I'm here today to tell you that for love of a breed, and we have a beautiful, sweet breed, and they don't have to do any work except make us happy, and we're all really good with that. I'm still breeding. I just left a litter of 4-week-old puppies at home to be here for a week, and I get video of them every day. I still get excited by breeding them. Those puppies will all be seen before they are offered for sale by a veterinary ophthalmologist, have their eyes cleared. They will be seen by a veterinary cardiologist who will auscultate them, because if you take them to a regular vet, someone will say, oh, it's a Cavalier, call in a vet. You know, we need to see right away a cardiologist, it's a Cavalier puppy. Well, when they go with the certificate from the vet, the cardiologist, that seems to take we check to make sure that their patellas are good at that moment in time, and that there's no problem with anything that we can positively check. And my dogs all have hearts, eyes, patellas, hips, the 2 DNA tests that we can do, and lots of love. So thank you for listening today, and I hope I've given you a positive way that a breed club can affect its good health. Thank you.